Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to episodes 5 through 9 of Esluna, the first Monolith. So, last time we met Maeve, and we kind of saw how this connected to the movie, The World's Divide, as we see that it does center a lot around Batar as well and his, time coming into Esluna after having been frozen in the monolith for all those years. And we see that Queen Leda, the mother of the queen from the movie, because this is a prequel to the movie, has taken the monolith. Maeve's grandmother worked for the queen and was a monk who was trying to figure all this out as well. But that seems to have kind of changed a bit now. And now that we're years ahead of after Batar first came here, he is now working with this guy named Yoki, trying to, find all of these relics or whatnot and get to the monolith and everything because he wants to go home. Batar does, that is. And so we see kind of the stepping stones. This was, created before Worlds Divide, so you can see how the animation may not be as perfect yet, especially with the characters, but it's still good and it still showcases what you need to know. The backgrounds are still gorgeous. That's just undeniable. And the story and characters are still great. I have no issue with any of that. Um, I don't think it's as good so far as The Worlds Divide, and I mean, that's not necessarily a big deal. It's a 9 episode series of short episodes, so I'm not really too worried if it's not as grand of a scale as this 2 hour movie. But it's still enjoyable, and it definitely gives us a little more background on things. And like I believe I said this last time, there is also another movie that takes place between this and Worlds Divide, and I believe Denver, the creator, said he was going to try and get that online for a limited release window sometime next year. So I'm excited about that. Definitely would like to react to that as well. And that'll probably bridge the gap between wherever this leaves off and then the movie. From when we get to Esluna in the movie. Um, so I'm very curious to see where this does leave off, and especially with Batar. We also saw a guy who was in the grandmother's bar, who I think was the other friend of Batar's during the events of the movie. At least he looked like him because he had the beard and everything, and I think it was supposed to be him. We didn't get much of anything with him in this one. Maybe we'll see it in these episodes here, or maybe in the next movie. We'll see how they all how he joins forces with Batar and Maeve. But yeah, I'm very curious to see more of this. I feel like there's a lot of things being set up here, and we can explore a lot of what eventually made it into Worlds Divide and how that connects. Um, but yeah, I'm really enjoying this, even if I don't like it as much as Worlds Divide. But to be fair, that's a high bar. Worlds Divide is in my list of movies I consider perfect, which is a very small list, all things considered. I only have 12 movies on that list, and I've seen pretty much 1,800 movies, at least as I have logged on Letterboxd. I've definitely seen more than that. I just can't remember every single one. Um, but that's less than 1% of all the movies I've seen that that I consider perfect. So that's, yeah, probably how it should be. But yeah, Worlds Divide is one of them. It's that good. It's that good. It really is. Um, this series so far, it's like, well, I mean, I don't log series in the same way I do movies, but also I don't really consider it quite as good. It's still good, but it definitely shows a little of the kinks that needed to be worked out here. That the movie definitely perfected a lot better. Um, and I think we'll see some of those probably in the other movie as well, since again that was originally made after this, but before Worlds Divide. But that will definitely be a lot more polished than this was too. It's just that's how things go. It's like the further it goes along, the more polished it will become. So I don't mind that at all. It's like that's not really a big issue with me because I understand that like stuff that was made earlier is going to not be as polished. But it does like show still. And it shows in the story and everything too. The story's not as well polished either. So at least so far. We still got episodes to go, so let's get into it and see what these last episodes have to offer. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I was looking up some things. First off, there was a Yoki in Worlds Divide, but it was Batar's daughter. And it's very clear she's named after this Yoki, which is really cute. Like, that's really fucking cute that Batar named his daughter after her. I don't know if we're supposed to see, like, Batar and Yoki as partners or just, best friends. I could see it either way. It's, like, kind of vague in a way. But I could absolutely see it either way. The guy on the ship, on the Queen's ship, on Lita's ship, looked a lot like Flynn, Edena's brother from Worlds Divide, and I'm wondering if like after all of this, I'm wondering if Lita and that guy like got together, and so that's why Flynn looks like this guy, and so they had both Flynn and Edena. Unfortunately, it does really suck that we know where Lita's story goes. That even though she did, in a way, redeem herself here, it didn't stick. That she still ended up abusing and just being terrible to her daughter to the point where Edena, like, killed her. It was accidental and everything, I believe, but if I'm remembering right. But still, it was, like, because of what she had been, forcing on her. And it sucks. But it's good to know that Edena also got redeemed at the end of Worlds Divide, so it kind of, like, it feels like she's kind of trying to carry on that legacy in a way. And actually gonna probably be good in place of her mother kind of relapsing into that negativity. I don't know if like her daughter just reminded her too much of Oshi. I don't know if there was like too much there that just like hurt her because of that. But yeah, it seems like there is a lot in regards to that she just never really got over. Um, the monolith at the end, the one that lit up, that had to be Natomi's, right? But at the same time, it's like the timeline, it's like obviously that would take place well in the future from here, like what, 40 years in the future from this point. So it's like Unless that was showing the future, which is possible. That could be like setting up for Worlds Divide. Um, but it's like that looked like the kind of location that Natomi was in when she woke up from her monolith. So I think that might be what that's hinting at. Um, I would say that Mitsu's inclusion in this, I feel like he could have had like more interactions with everyone. I know this was short. I know there wasn't a lot of time to do that with. But Mitsu didn't. I didn't feel the connection with him and the rest of the crew just yet. Like they were starting to build that at the end, but I don't really feel that connection yet. Because as we know at the end of the or in rather not the end. What am I talking about? In Worlds Divide, we know that like they've been together for years. Maeve, um, Maeve, Batar, and him are like this big friend group. This like notable trio, and so I would love to see like more of that expanded. I wonder if that's done in the other movie. Um, I guess whenever we get to see that, we'll see maybe. But this was like these last 5 episodes like blew the first 4 out of the water. I want to say that like with entire certainty. The first 4 episodes of this series were like okay, they were good, but nothing like anything beyond that. But these last 5 episodes were more on the level of Worlds Divide. Not maybe not quite to that degree, but definitely more on that level. Even the animation had a like notable uptick. I feel like the budget was saved for these episodes. Um, Not just the background animation and whatnot, not just like the visuals of everything around, but even character animation got a bit better. Um, Most notably with like the Queen with Lita and with Oshi. Oshi's animation, like when in this irradiated state, was phenomenal. Actually, it felt otherworldly and off in the perfect way. Um, the story was good. The story was definitely still the best part. The story and characters. It was even better here in these 5 episodes. Like just the escalation of it. The action was fantastic. The stakes, everything just like improved drastically for me, and it didn't feel unnatural, which was something I was also kind of worried about because I've seen that where shows will like just suddenly escalate out of nowhere and it feels completely unnatural to everything before. Because we ended episode 4 on that cliffhanger and everything was starting to escalate at that point. So it makes sense, it tracks that it would like even progressively more escalate here. We didn't lose anyone. So there I mean outside of Oshi, I guess. But let's be honest, Oshi was pretty much already gone. It was mainly just Lita hanging on to something she couldn't let go of. And it sucks. It's really sad because you absolutely do feel for Lita here. Losing anyone is always hard, and it's like I've lost family members. I've lost my uncle, my grandfather. I've lost my great aunt who I was close with. It's like I know what it's like to lose family, to lose people I care for. And it's never fun. It's never, pleasant. And so it's like I can sympathize absolutely with her here. But that doesn't excuse her actions. And luckily she seemed to realize that. She said she was going to, go to the council and everything. But again, we do unfortunately know where this goes. We do know that her actions aren't just magically going to be better from here on out. She does relapse into that negativity. And it sucks because there's like just so much there's so much hope at the end of this. And you have Maeve like coming to terms with her mother's death, something she wasn't able to let go of, and having to like lose the last of that through the orb, but like also leaving her own imprint on the world by like having herself scanned into the orb at the end. It's very wonderfully symbolic of her moving on and finding, a new purpose, finding new hope in the future. Because her entire life up to now has been like entirely focused around her mother and not letting go of that. Which again, I can't blame her for, but it's not healthy. It's not healthy. And you should never forget. Like, I'm not saying that you should forget and move on, but you should move on, but you should never forget. You should just always keep them in your memory, but you need to move on. You need to be able to progress through your life. It's not healthy to just stay in mourning forever. It's not going to lead to anything positive. And that was clearly a big theme here through both Maeve and Lita. You see a little bit of like thematic stuff with Batar as well, like coming to terms with like this is his home now, that he's not going to be able to make it back, which again at this point he clearly doesn't know that he's in the future from his own time. He still thinks he's in another world, but he's kind of still come to terms with this, and he's clearly made a home here. He's made friends. He's made like a family, a found family. And then like we see how things go with him reuniting with his cousin with her in Worlds Divide. And so it's like he does eventually reconnect with like his, biological family with Natomi, and he does end up having a daughter, and he lives a good life from what we know. So yeah, everything works out. I do wonder what happened to Yoki between the events of this, like this Yoki between the events of this and Worlds Divide, because it's like with him naming his daughter after him. I'm wondering if Yoki does end up dying. I don't think it said much of anything, but I might be wrong. Also, I just realized as well, Batar's daughter Yoki is also a pilot. Like she pilots the ship in Worlds Divide, and it's like, okay, that makes it even cuter. The fact that she's named after this Yoki. Um, yeah, it's pretty fun to see these kind of connections. Um, but yeah, this ended really well. Visually, like in terms of the story, the character work, it was elevated in a way that I feel like it needed to be. And again, the first four episodes weren't bad by any means. They were good. They just weren't on the level of Worlds Divide. They just didn't quite reach that level of quality for me personally. It's all subjective, of course, but again, these last five episodes ramp things up so greatly. I especially loved was it episode 7? It was 6 or 7 when it ended and had like the very harrowing moment at the end, like where even with the credits being a little different, it's like that was so well done. I compared it to Gravity Falls, and it's like it's just I love when shows do that, when like they forego having the normal ending theme and they just like have this like very harrowing thing. Owl House did this as well. I mentioned Gravity Falls, but Owl House did this too. During the two-part season 1 finale, the first part of the episode ended on a very, very upsetting note, and it's like it was very depressing and sad, and like the credits actually, you know, connected to that, keeping with that tone. It's like just I love when shows do that because it shows how big of a moment that is. Um, but but let me check here. Yeah, so the other movie is called The Crown of Babylon. And like I said, I believe Denver Jackson has said on Twitter uh, on there that the plan is that there's going to be a release for that next year, which is exciting, and I very much want to see that because that's a full length movie like Worlds Divide was. So I'm very curious to see how that kind of like bridges the gap between the two, between the first Monolith and the Worlds Divide. But I'm loving this world. Like I just love this world that Denver Jackson has built. It's so good. I'm so invested in these characters. I'm so invested in like everything that we learn about this world, everything we get to see, and it's just like I'm so glad I discovered this while randomly scrolling through Twitter. I'm like really genuinely loving this. And I hope that I hope that Denver continues to explore this with future projects as well. I would love to see like more from this, even if just like shorts, like little short animations that like expand upon things a little bit more. I would love that. Um, Maybe even like going into like even a comic. Like I'm not a big comic person. I'm not like a big reader of comics and manga. I've never been huge into the medium, but I would read a comic for this. Like that's how much I'm into this. I would read a comic for the Esluna universe. Um, yeah, I really loved it. I don't know if you can hear that. I'm sorry. That's been like annoying me, but I think it's the neighbor. The neighbor's like working on something out there, and it's like you can kind of hear. I can hear it very loudly. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear that or not. I don't know if it's like picking up on the mic, but it's like it's very loud. It sounds like hammering or something. So it's probably like some like woodworking or something like that. I don't know. But it's like I'm sorry if you can hear that. It's not really anything I can do about it. Hopefully, if you can, it's at least not loud enough to like distract from anything. But either way, yeah, I want more of this. God, I can imagine a video game in this universe. Like, imagine like an open world RPG in this universe. It would be so good. Granted, I'm not expecting that to ever happen. But you can imagine that. It would be so, so good to have like an open world RPG. You could have like exploration and even like travel via the like the types of vehicles we've seen. You could go to like the different locations we've seen throughout the series and the movies and all. That would be so awesome. Oh, that would be cool. Again, I'm very much not expecting that to ever happen, but if that did, like I would be up for it. I would be absolutely up for a video game for this franchise, this series. um, but yeah, either way, I just really loved this. Like these last 5 episodes turned me around on this series a lot and made me like I mean, I loved it either way. I was a fan either way. Like I said, the first 4 episodes were good, but these last 5 were great. They were like really great. So tell me in the comments below what you thought about of episodes 5 through 9 of As Luna, the first Monolith, and what you thought of the series as a whole. And yeah, whenever it becomes available again, via another limited release and all, I will react to the Crown of Babylon 100%. But for the time being, thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.